Imagine this. It's 12:30 a.m. The house is finally quiet, and you're sitting there on the edge of your bed just staring at the floor.
I know this feeling.
You've got a passport in a drawer somewhere, maybe a Bible open on your lap, and your
Yeah.
heart is just burning. You have this nagging sense that you're supposed to be doing more.
Something bigger than the 9 to 5, the mortgage, all of that.
Exactly. You want your life to count.
Mhm.
Then right after that burning feeling comes this paralysis.
Yeah.
You see this open door of possibility, and then you just slam right into a wall. The wall of, where do I even begin?
That is the perfect description. The source material we're looking at today calls that the ache of calling without coordinates. It's a very specific kind of anxiety.
Calling without coordinates. That's it. It's this trap of motion without direction. Like we're all so busy.
Incredibly busy and successful. You
Yeah.
have professionals with calendars packed to the minute, but they still feel this lack of real impact. They're moving, but they aren't going anywhere that feels meaningful.
So the problem isn't effort.
No, not at all. The sources argue it's about clarity.
Okay, so today we're going to try and find some of that clarity. We're doing a deep dive into something called the Personal Mission Action Plan, or PMAP.
Right.
Now, I can hear people thinking this is just another corporate productivity hack with a spiritual sticker on it. How is this actually different?
That's a fair question. The PMA, as it's described, isn't a rigid to-do list. It's more like a compass and a roadmap.
Compass and a roadmap.
Yeah, it's a framework to get you from those vague, burning aspirations you have at midnight to actual, tangible, boots-on-the-ground steps. It
Yeah.
bridges the gap between your theology and your logistics.
Theology and logistics, I mean, those two things don't usually sit at the same table.
But they have to. Otherwise, inspiration just stays a daydream. You need a way to translate the why into the how.
All right, let's unpack that. Let's start with the theology, the why. Because there seems to be a huge myth we need to bust right away.
Oh, absolutely.
This idea that mission, with a capital M, is for like a special forces team. Pastors, missionaries in the jungle, people with 1,000,000 airline miles.
That is probably the single most damaging myth out there. It creates this two-tiered system. You have the holy professionals, and then you have everyone else who just, pays the bills.
Right.
But the whole concept of Missio Dei, the mission of God, it just flips that entire idea on its head.
Okay, Missio Dei, break that down for us.
It simply means the mission belongs to God. He owns it, and he invites us into it. It's not something we have to invent. I mean, the source material points to people like Lydia in the book of Acts.
Lydia. She
Yeah.
was a businesswoman, right? A dealer in purple cloth.
High-end textiles.
Yeah.
She was basically a CEO of a luxury goods company. Or look at Daniel, a top-tier government official in a totally secular, even hostile empire.
And Priscilla and Aquila.
Huh?
Tent makers.
Exactly. They were artisans who used their home as a hub for discipleship. These were ordinary people with day jobs. The key distinction the source makes is that mission isn't primarily about where you go. It's about how and why you live right where you are.
So if you're an accountant, a barista, a coder, you're not less commissioned than the person preaching on Sunday.
Not even 1% less. The Great Commission was given to all disciples, not a professional class. And the source has this great line, God doesn't waste context. If you're in a boardroom, that is your mission field. If you're at the school pickup line, that's your geography.
God doesn't waste context. I love that. And it ties right into that verse from Jeremiah 1.5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you.
That verse is the anchor for this whole thing. It means your calling starts with God, not with your ambition. Which is a huge relief if you think about it.
It really is.
You're not inventing a purpose to feel significant. You're just discovering what was, as Ephesians says, prepared beforehand.
It takes all the pressure off. It shifts the focus from performance to
To participation. You're not auditioning for a role. You're just accepting an invitation to align with a current that's already flowing.
Okay, so we're aligning. But that brings us right back to the person on the edge of the bed. How do you know what you're supposed to be aligning with? God has a plan. It's a nice thought. But it doesn't tell me what to do on Tuesday.
Right. And that's where the practical tools come in. The source introduces this self-assessment tool called the Mission Compass.
The Mission Compass.
It gives you 3 coordinates to help locate your unique contribution.
All right, let's walk through them. Coordinate number 1, spiritual gifts. Now, I feel like most of us have taken a spiritual gifts test at some point, got a result like mercy or admin, and then just file it away.
We all have, and that's the problem. We treat them like personality test results. But the source says we should see them as tools of grace, not trophies. They're given for the common good, not for your own self-discovery.
So how do you find them if you're not sure? The text points to two indicators, joy and energy.
Yes. And that energy one is a little counterintuitive.
How so? I mean, hard work is tiring,
It
right?
is, but there's a huge difference between being drained and being depleted but satisfied. Think about a time you did something really hard, but afterward you felt this buzz. You were tired, but you also felt alive.
I see.
That's a sign of gifting. When you work outside your gifting, you just feel drained, period. Inside your gifting, it might be exhausting, but it feels right, like you're swimming downstream.
So follow the energy. Okay, what's coordinate number 2?
Passions, or as the source calls them, holy burdens.
Holy burdens, that sounds heavy.
It's meant to be. The question here isn't, what do you enjoy? The question is, what breaks your heart?
So we're not talking about a hobby.
No, not a fleeting interest. We're talking about a God-shaped ache. Think of Nehemiah. He hears the walls of Jerusalem are in ruins and he weeps. He has this visceral physical reaction. He can't just move on.
Or Moses seeing injustice in Egypt. It's that thing in the world that makes you want to slam your fist on the table and say, this should not be.
Precisely. That deep sorrow or even that anger, we usually try to push those feelings away. But the PMA says those are actually signposts. They are pointing you to where you are called to serve.
Okay, so we have gifts, what I'm good at, and passions, what I care deeply about. But the third coordinate, this one kind of threw me. Growth areas.
Yeah, this is where the normal corporate logic breaks down. In a job interview, you spin your weaknesses. Here, you highlight them.
It calls weakness a workshop for grace, which is a beautiful phrase, but
Yeah.
why do I need to list my flaws to find my mission?
Because any mission plan that pretends you're perfect is a recipe for burnout. The whole idea is based on 2 Corinthians 12:9. His power is made perfect in our weakness. If you know you lack theological depth or you're terrible at organization, you need to admit that up front.
So it's not about beating yourself up.
Not at all. It's about strategy. If you know you're disorganized, you don't just pray to be more organized. You find a partner with the gift of administration. You plan for your weakness. It forces you to depend on others and on God, which is really the entire point.
Right. It forces honesty. Okay, so we've set our compass, we know our tools, our burdens, our blind spots. Now we need a destination. And the source is pretty blunt here. Everywhere is not a strategy.
It's a hard truth, but it's true. We want to do everything, help everyone. But diffused light doesn't really do anything. Focused light starts a fire.
So specificity matters.
It's crucial. I mean, even Jesus had a specific scope for his earthly ministry. Paul was actively stopped by the Spirit from going to one place so he could focus on another. You have to choose a field.
And the source breaks this down for us into 3 modern categories. First up, local community.
This is the one that's not very glamorous. It's your neighborhood, your workplace, the coffee shop. The currency here isn't some big event. It's trust, built through sheer consistency over time. It's the long game.
Then you've got global or unreached.
Right, the cross-cultural stuff. This is the go part of the Great Commission. It often means learning languages, adapting to new cultures, really stepping way outside your comfort zone. High commitment, high barrier to entry.
And then there's the third one, which I think is so relevant today, the digital or relational field.
We just can't ignore this. We live so much of our lives online. The source argues that these digital spaces, these professional networks, they're valid mission fields. You can mentor someone over Zoom. You can be a voice for truth in your industry's online forum.
But that's the problem, isn't it? The needs are everywhere. The internet is massive. My neighborhood has issues. The world is hurting. How do you pick one?
You use a selection matrix. You look at any opportunity through 3 lenses: need, personal fit, and sustainability.
Need is obvious. Personal fit goes back to the compass. Do my gifts match this problem? But what about sustainability?
That's the reality check. Can I actually keep this up? But the most critical step in choosing your field, the one everyone skips, is research.
Listening before speaking.
Yes, we love to be the hero, to rush in with our brilliant solutions. But look at Paul in Athens. He didn't just show up and start preaching. He walked around. He observed their statues. He read their poets. He listened first. You have to respect the field enough to learn about it before you try to change it.
That is a huge takeaway. Respect the field. Okay, so compass is set, field is chosen. Now we need the roadmap. Because without a plan, this is all still a very well-researched daydream.
Exactly. You need tiered goals to keep from getting overwhelmed. The source breaks it down into short-term, mid-term, and long-term.
Let's run through those. Short term is what, a year or less?
Yeah, and the goal there is one word: momentum. Just get the ball rolling. Don't try to change the world in year one. Maybe it's just finishing that gifts assessment or volunteering somewhere once a month.
Midterm is 1 to 3 years.
And that's all about skill building. You're equipping yourself, taking that theology course, learning a new language, leading a small group for the first time.
And long term, 3 to 10 years out, is the legacy piece.
That's it. Planting the church, establishing the sustainable network. The source tells this great story about a guy named Jacob that illustrates this perfectly.
Right. Tell us about Jacob. His story shows kind of patience this requires.
So Jacob's long-term vision was massive. He wanted to build a discipleship network in Southeast Asia. Huge. But his short-term goal?
What was it?
Attend language school. That's it. Just learn how to talk to people.
That's a pretty humble start for a discipleship network.
Isn't it? Doesn't look like much in a newsletter. Update. Still learning verbs. But it was the essential foundation. Then his midterm goal was to start mentoring some local youth. And only then, years later, did that grow into the long-term legacy he envisioned.
The progression makes it possible.
Yeah.
The source also mentions SMART goals here, specific, measurable, and all that. I have to ask, doesn't applying corporate SMART goal logic to a spiritual mission feel a little cold?
I get that. It can feel sterile. But think about Proverbs. The plans of the diligent lead to abundance. Ambiguity is the enemy of action. If your goal is just love my neighbors, that's wonderful, but you probably won't do much because it's too vague. But if your goal is host a dinner for the family next door on the 3rd Friday of this month, well, that actually gets done. It puts feet on your faith.
That's a fair point. Vagueness kills the mission. Okay, so we have the plan. But this next part, the infrastructure, is where I think it gets really practical. Because even with the best map, if you go hiking alone, you're going to get in trouble.
Mission cannot be done in isolation, period. It's just not possible.
Yep.
The source lays out a support triad. You need 3 types of people.
First up are mentors.
The people who've already walked this path, they provide wisdom, course correction. They're the ones who can look at your map and say, hey, watch out, there's a cliff there you can't see.
Then you need peers.
You're in the trenches crew, people at the same stage as you, facing the same things. You need them for accountability, for encouragement, for someone to vent to who actually gets it.
And the third one, they call it the unseen infrastructure, prayer partners.
This is so vital. Jacob, the missionary we mentioned, he said he navigated these impossible cultural barriers, and he credited it to the reports he was getting of people praying for him back home.
It's interesting they call that infrastructure. We usually treat prayer as the soft, fluffy thing you add on at the end.
Not in the PMAP. Here it's treated like spiritual air support. If you believe this is God's mission, then you absolutely need a direct line to headquarters. It's as practical and necessary as funding.
Speaking of which, we can't ignore resource stewardship, the practical stuff.
Right. Budgeting, time management. If you don't schedule your mission, the urgent will always crowd out the important. You have to treat this with the same respect you treat your career.
Oof, that hits home. We give our best energy to our jobs, and then our leftover energy to the things that matter for eternity.
Exactly. And this whole plan is designed to flip that script.
So let's zoom out. We've gone from this paralyzing feeling on the edge of the bed to a full-blown strategy.
It's a complete journey. You start with the theology, realizing you are sent by God. Then you use the compass to find your unique gifts and passions. You identify a specific field. You build a tiered roadmap to walk it out. And you surround yourself with a support triad to keep you going.
It turns, I want to do something someday, into this is what I'm doing next Tuesday.
That's it, exactly. And that leads to the final provocative thought the source leaves us with. It asks, what would happen if in just 1 month you acted on the clarity this plan provides?
1 month.
Just 1 month, not a 10-year plan. What door could you open? Whose life could you touch? If you just stopped waiting for a lightning bolt from heaven and started using the map you have.
That's the challenge, isn't it? You don't need a stage or a platform. You just need the courage to take the next faithful step.
And the beautiful thing is, the road unfolds as you move. It doesn't appear while you're sitting still, waiting. It unfolds when you start walking.
So, for everyone listening, get your compass, pick your field, and take that step. Thanks for diving up with us today.
My pleasure.